What is the most disrespectful thing a guest ever did at your home? My old roommate's friend was supposed to crash on our couch. He kept drunkenly bragging all night that he was going to kick my cat. I made him promise he wouldn't. His friends acted like he was just joking and being an asshole for laughs. He later told his friends that he kicked her anyway after I went to sleep. My cat is not aggressive whatsoever and would have just left him alone all night. I don't care how much someone hates cats, a cat is a very small animal compared to an adult human. Basically the size of an infant. Would you kick a baby? By the way, if someone has made hating cats a part of their identity to the point where they have to make a big deal about it anytime someone mentions cats, they're not funny, they're just an asshole. I had my sister's now ex come over to my home with her one day. My blind 10-year-old, 8-pound dog walked into him by accident. He kicked my dog hard enough to send him skidding across the room into a far wall. I screamed what the F at him and he told me he was teaching the idiot manners and to stay away from people that didn't invite him over. I pointed out the blind dog pure white black letters harness and he told me if it was real I should let him stomp his head in then. I threw his ass on the floor from the couch and demanded my sister to get him the duck out before I got back from my room. I was just going for my keys so I could take my dog to the vet as he hadn't gotten back up and was whimpering, broken ribs. Apparently my sister thought I was headed after my service weapon to shoot him because they were long gone. She came over that night and gave me his full name, phone number and address and asked if she was still allowed around. We are still in small claims court. I don't expect him to pay up, but he will pay more than he owes me in court fees by the time I'm done. Edit, I feel the need to add, my sister dumped his ass that night. They went straight to his house and when he got out she locked the doors, rolled the window down and told him she would mail his shit and the engagement ring to him. Also my baby, my dog, had 3 broken ribs and major bruising and he is now all healed up and about to turn 12. When I told the emergency vet his age he told me that his breed typically dies at 7 so I now understand why he is so crotchety. But I love my old grumpy puppy. My wife and I had done this a couple times with friends of ours. They stay at our place over the colder months because they're trying to get back on their feet and that's hard to do when it's dumping snow on you. So, we offered our home to 2 separate people on separate occasions, didn't charge them rent. Just asked that they help around the house. Our first guest kept bitching about literally everything we watched in the evenings on television. Posting on Facebook how bad all the things we liked were, etc. On top of that, the guy was eating us out of house and home. I'd go to make dinner and find the groceries I bought were already used and consumed. Our second guest bitched about the few chores we asked told him on a constant basis. He just wanted to be left alone and drink, smoke out and do his own thing. But that wasn't part of our conditions to having him live with us. Needless to say they were both kicked out after a short period of taking advantage of us and we haven't really opened our home to anybody in that way again. I've experienced something similar. I've let a few people stay with me while they were trying to get back on their feet. Said to each and every one of them that they were more than welcome to stay, but they would have to pay their half of utilities. If they stayed longer than a month, they would have to pay rent. Rent was either half or a quarter of my mortgage per person depending on how many were staying with me and my boyfriend. My mortgage is less than $900 a month so I didn't feel like $225, if there were 2 people staying, to $450, for one person, a month would be asking much. No one ever really stayed past the first month because there was always no way they could afford rent. Which never bothered me because I didn't want roommates in the first place. However, I will never forget a young couple I let stay with me. They brought their dog that peed everywhere, including on my brand new $3,000 couch set. Literally squatted on the cushions and pissed, chewed everything including drywall and custom blinds, and infested my home with fleas. The infestation got so bad that when you walked there would be at least 8 to 10 fleas on you. I had to redo all the flooring in my home because of it. When they left I asked for them to help pay for the damages and of course they refused. They ended up leaving while I was at work one day. I came home to a note that basically said I was a terrible person and that I wouldn't get any money for utilities or any damages and that I was out of line to ask in the first place. I used to own a Street Fighter II stand-up arcade that I kept in my living room. One New Year's Eve I was having a party and a friend that I invited was telling her brother that she was going to my party. I knew him but we weren't friends but he decided to invite himself and a few of his people that I didn't know, over to my house. When he showed up his sister, my invited friend, was surprised and told me that she didn't invited them. Since I knew the brother, I told him that he was responsible for his friends. If shit goes down, he goes down with it. His friends started playing the SF game and smoking cigarettes. I smoked at the time, I don't anymore, thankfully, so that didn't bother me. One guy set his cigarette on the controller part on the arcade and forgets about it. Well, it melted the edge of the machine. I told the guy to pay attention and to put his cigarette out. He just looked at me, takes one last drag and dropped it on the floor, then rubbed it out on my carpet with his foot. I didn't even get a chance to say anything before about 3 to 4 of my friends grabbed him and dragged his ass out the front door. They laid him out pretty good. The best part was that another friend of mine was outside grilling and heavily drinking on the porch. The guy was dragged outside right behind where my friend was grilling. My friend turned around, seen the dude getting his ass handed to him, takes another drink off his beer, and went right back to grilling like this shit was an everyday thing. The brother gathered up his buddy and the rest of his friends and left. Never seen any of them again. We used to have anime convention meetings at my house. Like 30 to 40 people, and our house was big enough for it. Every one of them were decent and respectful people, all staffers, and usually people we have known for years. This one time, though, we had a mad shitter. Someone with horrific gastrointestinal issues lay waste to our 4 bathrooms. What gets me is not just how they filled each toilet bowl with gallons of butt pudding, but they didn't flush, and they decided to do the same thing to every bathroom we had in a 5-hour period. We had a public bathroom, that is roomy and clean for guests right off our rec room. We also had a second guest bathroom in case the public one was in use. But this person also found one in our separate apartment. Our house has an in-laws suite that my sister was living in at that time, plus my wife and I's private bathroom off the master bedroom. The foul discount cabbage burrito rotting stench and Jackson Pollock display of some anal Beirut explosion was first discovered by someone else in the public bathroom, followed by a similar complaint in the secondary bathroom. Both were cleaned immediately, but later my sister came to me and described what she had to clean up in her bathroom, followed by my discovery in my master bath. I knew every person at that meeting. It's never happened before or since. It's always been a mystery. A friend invited their friend to my party. It's not that I didn't like the guy, I just didn't know him well enough to invite him to my home. Friend's friend shows up with a friend of his own. This friend is wearing what looks like his father's suit. He's immediately out of place. I try to make him feel welcome, get him a beer, invite him into our conversations. His English is okay but not 100%, so we're patient with him. After a beer he seems quite upbeat. He makes a start on a second and it quickly becomes clear that this is his first party and first dabble in alcohol. He starts getting wild. It's a good party but no one is nearly as wild as this guy is getting. I lose track of him for a bit, then find him in the living room with his face pressed against a speaker saying "Dis is my jam" repeatedly. I go find my friend's friend, let's call him Abe for now, and ask what the deal is. He tells us they are in some business class together and he doesn't know the guy that well. Thanks for bringing a stranger into my house, I guess. My friend and I decide that since no one really knows the guy and Abe brought him, it should be Abe's job to keep an eye on the man both for his safety and for ours. Abe agrees. About 20 minutes later I'm headed to the fridge and see Abe. I ask him how his buddy is doing and Abe tells me he hasn't seen him since we spoke. Great, good job Abe. I look around the house and find his friend laying on the stairs half asleep. He's breathing, he's knackered, I let him sleep. I tell Abe where he is and remind Abe that the guy is his responsibility. Another 20 minutes pass and I'm heading outside for a spliff. Abe's friend is still on the stairs but he's moved a few steps up. Not sure about this. I find Abe and tell him if his friend goes upstairs he needs to go and check on him and make sure he's not A, throwing up in a bedroom, or B, going through someone's stuff. Abe is more interested in my spliff. AMD is clearly not paying attention. I warn him that if his guest fucks up it's on his check. Abe agrees. 20 minutes later I pass the stairs and Abe's friend is gone. I have a look around and he's not downstairs. I have a word with Abe and Abe is as clueless as ever. I grab my friend and we head upstairs together. A few other people have picked up on our suspicions and make a start after us. We get upstairs and start opening doors. The first door is my junk room, loads of old furniture, electronics, exercise equipment, tools. No one in there, nothing moved. The second door is my housemate's room, no one in there, nothing moved. The third door is my room, the light is on. My friend and I enter the room and find that Abe's friend is in my bed. Poor lad is probably tired, just wanted a kip, no harm no foul. My friend notices that he's still wearing the suit but his one leg is out of the covers and he's not wearing anything on his lower body. He's essentially naked from the waist down in my bed. That's not so cool, so we walk over and pull the sheets off the bed only to reveal that the guy has his hand right up his asshole. He was fisting himself in my bed, and passed out mid-thrust. That's a big foul. My friend and I pick the fella up and carry him downstairs, toss him out the front door. Then we pick up Abe and toss him out with him. Then we toss Abe's friend's trousers and shoes out also. My friend feels bad and orders a bunch of pizzas for the party guests to say sorry. About another 20 to 30 minutes later I answer the door to the pizza guy and Abe and his friend are sat in Abe's car staring at all of the pizza-like kids on the naughty step. They have the windows rolled down, probably because of the smell of Abe's friend's hand. I tell the party guests, and my girlfriend takes a pizza out for them but no wet wipe. To this day I wonder about that man wearing his dad's suit eating a pizza in the passenger seat of Abe's car with shit all over his hand, and where exactly he ended up in life. I bought a new bed and sheets the following week. You just can't wash an anal fisting away. TL, Dr. A stranger fisted his asshole in my bed. Okay, my time to shine. Full-blown argument with my father-in-law. So, my partner and I just recently purchased our own home. We invited my partner's family over for Christmas. They arrive on Christmas Eve, father, mother, Bill, and the Bill's kids. Myself and the Bill are great mates and spend most of the night chatting. After the kids are in bed we go to grab all the presents we have hidden and put them under the tree. With a full arm full of presents I bend down to put them under the tree, as doing so, I farted. Said sorry and went back to getting the presents. My partner comes to me a few minutes later, asking if I can say sorry to her father for farting, as he was seriously offended. I'm a bit annoyed by this request, since it is my house and I am hosting. But alas, to keep the peace I do what is best, and do it. I find the Phil sitting outside having a smoke. I say, "Hey Phil, sorry if I offended you before when I farted, sorry." Phil replied extremely aggressively, "Well you fucking well should, you filthy bastard." I reply, "I'm sorry Phil, in my defense I am in the comfort of my own home." Phil replied, "Well you can go and get fucked then and never invite me here again, I hate it." I walk away at this point because I was ready to skull drag that fucker onto the front lawn. I go to my partner and tell her the story. She is mortified and demands her father says sorry for his outburst. He didn't have the hide to talk to me for the next 3 days while they stayed in our home. Christmas Day rocks around. The Phil decided that all the kids should open their presents, including our children. By the time we are woken in the morning the kids have all opened their presents and we didn't even get the chance to see the kids open them. At this point I'm boiling but I hold in my rage. Come the day after Christmas the coward Phil was trying to pack the car before we woke up. I set an alarm at 6 a.m. I kicked the Phil out of the house in a fit of rage and tell him he is never welcomed back. Sisters-in-law came to stay with my wife and I for a while until she found a job and a place to live. We were in our second year of marriage and money was extremely tight. My wife and I decided to splurge one night and order Pizza Hut, maybe had pizza twice a year. Asks SIL if she wanted anything on it or if there was anything she really didn't want on it. She said she was good with whatever. We ordered a Supreme. We got the pizza and she grabbed a couple pieces and went to watch TV. A few minutes later she came back out and threw something in the trash and grabbed a couple more slices. She walked into the kitchen and put something in the trash can and went back to the TV. I walked into the kitchen to grab more water and saw piles toppings in the trash. I asked her, "Why did you throw out all of your toppings?" She responded, "I only like the bread." I was fuming. I knew I wouldn't like her next response but I asked her, "Why wouldn't you ask why for I if we wanted your toppings if you were just going to throw them out?" I almost lost it when she replied, "They were my toppings, I can do what I want with them." Too many stories from this one to share but I will say this, that 6 months she stayed with us almost destroyed my marriage. When I was in my early 20s, I had a 5 of friends over for a party at my parents' house. 2 of these friends were in a secret relationship. At one point in the night, I had to go to the bathroom. When I got there, I heard the girl in the relationship talking a little bit, and I heard the man's voice. I thought she was drunkenly FaceTiming someone from home, didn't think anything of it and went to the bathroom upstairs. As I was coming back downstairs, I saw both members of the relationship exit the bathroom. No big deal, I thought, they just made out in there or something and I'm fine with that. The party went on and we all went to sleep that night. I was the first one up after my parents the next morning, and they had informed me that the bathroom was flooded. After my friends left, they called a plumber and the plumber said the seal connecting the toilet and the floor was broken, which caused the water everywhere. When my dad asked what may have caused this, the plumber said the only way that could happen is if someone was aggressively pushing the back of the toilet. I connected the dots and realized that these two had sex in my bathroom, and they were thrusting so hard that they broke my toilet. When I confronted them both about it, I was met with tears and accusations of how dare you say that about me. I later found out that it was true. Unfortunately, my family still had to pay for a brand new toilet, since the couple would never admit to it. Oh, also, the girl was cheating on her boyfriend back at home with the guy she broke the toilet with. A messy situation all around.